Today we have Chrigel of the band Eluviete talking about their upcoming release and which will be out on April 25th. I hope you enjoy.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
No, all right, thank you. And you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
The usual madness.
Yeah, right before album drops, having to do a bunch of interviews and all the other stuff that comes with it.
That's not the madness, but that's also part of it.
That's
Yeah.
not the madness part of it. Oh my goodness. You got
And
lots going on then.
no, you know, being a parent sometimes gets gets you more craziness than a few interviews.
Absolutely. How many kids do you have?
um, I only have one
Yeah.
uh, kid, but I'm stepfather to a couple of more.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So you're super busy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. Well, the album comes out, let's see, not this coming Friday, but next Friday. Um, it's
Yeah. That
yeah.
went. Time flies. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I believe you. I have no idea what date it is today and everything, but okay, cool. Next
It
week.
actually comes out on my mom's birthday.
Cool. Social copy, I suppose, right?
You know what? I sent her a couple videos and she really, really likes you guys because she's not like a metal person, but she really, really likes you guys. So yeah, it's like a nice little gift for her on her birthday since she's become a fan now.
Okay, cool. I,
Um, So I assume you guys have been working on the music for a while because that's usually how it is, right? You have already completed and had the music done for a while, and then you have to anxiously await for the actual release date. How long have you had this album done?
actually, not that much.
Oh,
It it took us for bloody ages, and once once everything was finished, uh, everybody was just like, "Okay, done, run now." So it's I don't know if it's that's just my feeling, but it feels like just a few weeks that we actually finished the recordings. But it's not that much more, maybe a month or two or something like that. So it's all quite fresh.
wow. Well, then, so
Yes.
then it's still exciting for you guys.
Yeah, it is. We can't wait to share it with you and everybody.
Well, I've already heard all of it and I love it. I think it's so amazing.
Oh, thank you.
The title track, I forget how much I love Bobby's voice. But
No,
that title track, oh my gosh, it's so
it,
beautiful.
yeah, I agree. It's yeah, she did a phenomenal job there.
She
And
did.
you know what? Like we're that actually that was the first song from the new album we started playing. So
Oh,
it did play that song live even before it was recorded. So
oh my
it's
gosh.
the first couple of times we played it live, it even sounded a bit different than it does now on the album. But still now, like we just finished the first leg of the European part of the Anu Rising tour with that album, and also in that tour, every single evening when Fabi was singing that song, like everybody else walks off stage, and every single evening, I just walked to the side of the stage just to listen to her, close my eyes, listen to her every single night.
Oh, yeah, she's incredible.
I'm getting goosebumps every single, like still today, like when she sings that, it's crazy.
Yes, yes. Well, the people that haven't been able to see it live, I'm excited for them to be able to hear it because it is a very beautiful song.
Yeah, it is.
Um, I
Sad in a
have
way, moving, but beautiful.
yes, yes. My favorite song has become The Harvest. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Cool. It's my favorite song of the album as well, actually.
Awesome.
Um, yeah. What do you know about this one? It's a lot to tell.
I don't know anything outside of really, really enjoying it.
Okay. So musically, it's been a really good example of what is quite of what happened quite much with the entire album. Um, because like I think we never ever did an album that took so much time. On one hand, which in the first place, obviously, it was not because of the album, but because of a lot of things happening, including a fucking pandemic and all these things, you know. Um, but apart from that, yeah, it took us for ages, and we never had an album that was like a real potpourri of like really different ideas and everybody being in literally everybody of the band being involved quite a bit in the album. And so a lot of things we deliberately left open before entering the studio. So we were in the studio, started recording a song, and then the song just it was consisting of a beginning and the first verse, and then done. So we had no clue what the chorus might sound like, and we just let it happen in the studio. There has been actually a few songs like that, and The Harvest is one of them. So like the entire chorus actually spontaneously just literally happened in the studio, and yeah,
Wow.
that's a good example for Dan. And it's it's a pretty harsh song, like the dark one, I would say. And for us, it's always how do you say, like if, even if the lyrics are not like written out line by line, before we start composing music for a certain song, we already know or have to know what it will be about lyrically, because to us it's just super important that our songs also musically express what the lyrics are about. And that obviously also shows in the music being a pretty harsh one. And that song lyrically pretty much wraps at least the one aspect of the entire album concept up in one song. um yeah, that it's, oh my god, we should have 3 hours or something like that, maybe. No, it's just, like the whole album is based on an ancient text that's likely more than 4,000 years old, and it's an eschatological text, which means it contains lore or tenets, teachings about what we today would call the end of the world or apocalypse or whatever. But obviously, since it's a pre-Christian, an ancient text, it's we are not so much thinking about like an end to the world or something, but more. And that's also like what the ancient lore of the Druids actually talks about. It's more about the ideas of eternal cycles of death and rebirth and renewal that at the end of the day the entire cosmos undergoes. And so yeah, and obviously that ancient text that the album is based on, it's a human text, and obviously it talks about humans a lot, of course, and it talks about a new aeon to come, but it mostly talks about what's going to happen here, just towards that shift and right before the new aeon comes, which is not only funny. And so of course it talks about humans, but interestingly enough, the main focus is actually not us and all the weird things we do, such as like clinging to money and birth or things like that. It's not, that's not the focus, but the main focus is actually our like mankind's rather, I would say, ambivalent relationship to, in our understanding, the rest of us, and the way we put it today, nature. So that's actually the main topic, like how we humans are or do relate to nature. And that's pretty much the touching, thought-provoking, whatever kind of thing about this ancient text that made me decide to write an entire album about, because it's like, I mean, it did touch me like a lot. It's it's for instance, it's talking about at some point it starts talking about consequences of mankind's development, and it talks about a lot of things that we are not too unfamiliar with. For instance, it states that at the end of days of the current era, the soil will go dry globally, which we actually see happening today, and it's gradually becoming a more serious problem. Or it's talking about that globally the air will be polluted. It's talking about dead zones in the oceans. It's talking about climate conditions going completely out of hand. It's talking about globally appearing floods. It's talking about globally appearing wildfires. It's even mentioning fucking pandemics. And so if you read kind of that list in one ancient song that's called Lament, and you keep in mind that these lines have been written down 4,500 years ago, it just kind of makes you think, you know. And so that that's pretty much what the harvest does. So wrapping the whole thing up with a certain thing in mind. You know, like obviously this text is not. It's not. Of course, it's scary and everything. It's very serious and earnest, but obviously there's a future outlook because there will be death, yeah, but there will be renewal and there will be life and existence and it will be beautiful beyond, obviously. The thing is that we don't know today if we are still a part of it or not. And it doesn't really matter because there will be life and it will be beautiful if we are part of it or not. So that's not so important at the end of the day. But you know, it's still kind of thought provoking, and that's basically what the harvest is talking about.
I love your views and outlook on this. I have a lot of the same thought processes. And obviously, you know, it is scary if you don't look at it at a more like a wider scale, a bigger lens, you know. But I think when you're able to kind of look at it through like the whole universes and us being just like a small dot in the whole scheme of whatever it is, then it's kind of a pendulum swinging
I mean,
situation.
it's absolutely not significant at
Hmm.
all
Yeah,
whatsoever. Like really, really not. But it's beautiful to be part of it or have been part of it, and that's it. It's okay.
I love
So
that. I
let's
love
enjoy.
that.
Good.
It's such a healthy way of looking at things, and I think it's so important. So I love that you're bringing this to light because it is a really important topic. Now with this, now while you can have a very healthy perspective of it, we are humans, we're complicated, we have emotions that go on sometimes some roller coaster rides. The times that you do feel the heaviness of this, what are some, I like to ask this question with people that have very deep lyrics that talk about really important things. What are some things you do to kind of help keep yourself balanced and to help protect yourself from like the heaviness from of the topic when it feels that way?
To be honest, like personally, it doesn't really feel
Mhm.
heavy.
That's good.
It's like the feeling I carry within myself about this whole topics is pretty much, I would say, like something like indifference. Maybe
Mhm.
it's not that I care. It's just I know that we are part of it, but I also know that yeah, we are not that important, and what we think about it is not that important. And most of all, I know that we cannot change things. It's at least as it says in this ancient text, and also on our album, for instance, that's the phrasing. It's rough inside the circle of time, and so inside the process of time, and yeah, so I'm not going to change that process.
All right.
And even that process, like I don't do not take it too serious because it's, at least if we believe Albert Einstein, it's only existing in our teeny tiny little part of what we call the universe. And so what? So I just take it as an interesting experience that I'm grounded, and that's it. So that's time. So yeah, I mean, I don't really see like that. There's not much reason in worrying, you know.
Hmm.
Um, can you give me 1 second?
Absolutely.
I'll be back in 1 minute. Yeah, my wife had a little surgery today, and she just came back home from the doctor. So
Oh
I need
goodness.
to help her get in, and I nothing really bad, but still, like she needed some.
Yes.
So all good.
Just
Yeah.
Family's always definitely comes first.
Yeah, it kind of does. So yeah, uh, yeah. I personally, I or we don't really feel the need to do or get something to get ease or something like that because it is what it is. Obviously, there's another aspect. What you just said, the family thing. Of course, when I think of my son, of course it freaks me out, and of course I'm shitting my pants, and I'm asking myself things like, like I'll be gone at some point and have my peace, but like what shit will he have to deal with when he's 50 or something like that? Of course that makes me shitting my pants sometimes. Uh, but also there, like all I can do is give him the best possible tools to deal with these things. I can, at the end of the day, I can teach him how to be happy and loving and truthful, and that's pretty much all I can do. And I have to let him go.
Yeah.
And apart from that, there's a few little things that we can do to make a few things better. So I can try to, you know, there's too many assholes on this planet, so I can at least try to not be an asshole myself. Of course, I'm not succeeding in that a
Ah,
lot of time trying, or I can, uh, all the things that we have that I have mentioned before, like it's all the climate things. Of course, I'm not going to stop that, but I can do things to help a teeny tiny little bit, for instance, which is, for instance, why I'm living vegan, or we as a whole family are living vegan since quite some years. I mean, my boy has been vegan from birth, but um, things like that. Or if we plan touring, obviously we actually invest a lot of thoughts and also money and whatever we can to make our touring as sustainable as possible, which is kind of a contradiction itself because touring is not sustainable. It's a fucking catastrophe.
mm-hmm.
And we just try to get the best compromise in between as possible, between not touring and do responsible touring. So, but all these things, they're not going to change the process of time.
Right.
They they might have their impact if everybody or if many people do things like that, but also that it's going to help maybe, but it's not going to stop or end or change, or and in that sense, all I have the feeling I can do is to be thankful for what we are granted, for the experiences that we are granted, no matter if they're good or bad, or if we perceive them as good or bad. That's also another thing. uh,
Absolutely.
and to learn to deal with them and to teach my kids how to deal with them, and more, there's nothing else we can do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's a very healthy perspective to look at things. I mean, I do think even with that perspective, obviously there's still times that we let different stressors throughout life get to us, but I think overall that's a good way of looking at life. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful and sometimes terrifying thing, but we're all just kind of along for the ride, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have quite a few people in the band. I'm sure that is a struggle for touring as well, getting everybody's like schedules mixed together and everybody thrown into the same.
Not so much
No?
actually. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
good.
uh, I mean it. I mean, of course, what we do is our passion, and it will always be, but it's also a job. And
Mhm.
it's not, I don't know if you're working for a company or whatever, but I'm sure people who work for companies that have many hundreds of employees, and you could ask them to say, like, like it's got to be difficult to, how do you arrange hundreds of people to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning? Oh my God, how do you do that?
They just
But,
know that they got to do it.
exactly. So you're not
Yeah.
asked, and it's the same for a band. So
Yeah.
it's your job, it's your first priority, and if a tour starts, then you will be there then.
Right. Speaking
And
of speaking of tour, you guys are going on tour with Arch Enemy
mhm.
soon, which is such a fun duo. Like it's a what that's a I really hope you guys are were coming this way. I'm debating on traveling because I want to see both of you guys. But how did that end up coming about? Because you're pretty different musically.
Are we?
Well, I mean, not necessarily with you guys, I guess, have more of the folk and some clean. Where I mean, I guess it's still under like the death metal umbrella, so not not entirely.
Angela, like Arch Enemy's previous singer, she said it really beautifully. And that's a couple of years back. But when we recorded our last album, Atignatus, I showed her one song of the album. What was it? Mine is the Fury. That's the name of the song. I showed her Mine of the Fury, and she said like, "Fuck, this is like Arch Enemy with bagpipes," and it's pretty much it. So
Fair.
it's not that far off actually.
That's
Uh,
fair.
so yeah, but how this came to be, I don't really know. I mean, all the bands on this tour, except the opening band, I think. I'm not familiar with the opening band, I have to say. But the rest, we're at the same management company, and we all know each other personally. We're friends with each other, so it was pretty clear pretty soon, and at least the idea was clear, to do this common tour with Arch Enemy and with Amorphis and with Eluviete, and then, well, once all the bands were actually available at that time and could make it, so yeah, then the case was clear.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, yeah. I know the tour is going to Salt Lake, which is where we just came back from because we went to a show there last night.
Okay.
So I just got back yesterday from Salt Lake, but it's tempting to turn around and do her again because I haven't seen either one. Or no, I've seen Arch Enemy, but I haven't seen Eluvetti, and I would really like to. Now play a lot of different instruments. Which one did you start with?
Guitar. Uh,
Guitar.
it I mean, obviously, the touring cycle for Anu is by far not over. Once this year is over, obviously, and we're still very much in the planning phase right now for next year, and of course there will also be a North American leg of the tour. So don't worry about that. Um, and yeah, myself, like I started getting an education in classical guitar. It was like when I finished kindergarten,
Oh,
and ever since I started, then that was it for me. Like I, 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 I wasn't aware of the fact that I'm not going to be a guitar player for life. That did not work out because I suck at that. But it was clear already then that I will spend my life with music. I decided that then, actually. Then I was 6, and
that
that's what happened.
normal? Is that normal in Switzerland for people to get started that early?
I don't think it's a Swiss thing.
No, it was just a you thing. That's so cool.
But to be fair, I know quite a few people who are playing music for life that started very same for a guitar player. I mean, he was a bit older, but he also like it's cute. Like he reminisces every now and then, like when his father, who was a big Iron Maiden fan, and once little Jonas was old enough, like, and his dad once took him to an Iron Maiden concert and all that, and he've seen the all these videos, back then with what was it called, like MTV with Vanessa Warwick and all that, like you've seen the video clips of all the heroes of the 80s back then, and he saw all that as a kid, and it was same story there. He said, and he was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do, like, tiny little Jonas, and that's what he's doing today, and ever since then. So I know quite a few people where it worked like that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to ask that question because it's interesting to hear about that pivotal moment where they go from like the regular human to the want to be a rock star and then being able to turn around and make it happen because it's not easy. You know that.
need to get used to eat a lot of shit.
You're right.
At some point, you ate a lot of shit, but you made it at some point, and you can make a living out of it. So, and I think from that point on, you don't care how much shit you've had to eat before. So,
Yeah, yeah, because it's actually paid off. Well, let's see, Eluvete's been together for a long, long time. Has been in existence for, I'm trying to remember.
it's soon 25 years.
Wow. Does that feel crazy to say?
No, it just makes me realize how fucking old I am. But I mean, and we're not done yet. So, like,
Yeah,
I, you know, if I would say in 20 years I will do something different, that would feel weird because
yeah,
I imagine doing something different.
right.
So yeah, in 20 years I will be 70, but I have no problem imagining myself on a stage, maybe in a wheelchair. I don't care, but why would I not be creating music anymore then? Like I really cannot imagine anything else in that.
Going to see Willie Nelson next month and he's 91 and I'm just like, wow, he's still up there, still doing his thing. It's amazing.
I mean,
Um,
if if you suck at everything else, then you got to stick to the one thing that you can do.
well, you definitely don't suck at this. You guys are incredible. And I get excited every time there's a new album coming out. This one, a lot of people like with the three songs that you guys have released, the people that have been fans for a really long time have mentioned that they feel like it sounds like old Eluvetti. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
um, honestly, a bit cheekily happy because we kind of had something like that in mind, and
Mm,
now we're like, so
we did it.
yeah, no, but I mean, it's not that we said like we wanted the new album to sound like all our older stuff or something like that, but one thing that we have decided quite early is that we wanted our next album to be like a really raw one,
Mm,
and pretty much like, for instance, our album Slania from 2008 was. That was a pretty naked raw album without any. There's no effects in there, and like that. There's no overload compared to other albums that we did. I think the craziest one we ever did was Origins, where personally I absolutely do love that, but it's one way of working. And then Origins, there's hardly a second on that album where not a billion times are happening at the same time.
mhm,
And Slania, for instance, was very different. It's very, you have one riff and sometimes one melody from one folk instrument, nothing else. And that's something that we said we wanted to go more or do more that again for the new record, and that's what we did. And yeah, like apparently, yeah, people noticed that, maybe in a way that they think, okay, this sounds more like the old stuff. But that's totally fine because it does. It's rawer than our last few album. It's raw, like like Slania or Spirit or something.
mhm. Yeah. It's beautiful. I love it all the way through. I do like all the different, I mean, you guys are known for this anyways, but all the different melody shifts and different styles of songs from song to song. Like it keeps you guessing, but yet it still, flows really well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Glad to leave it that way.
Yes, yes. Well, I did want to hurry and talk about first the prophecy. You've already kind of talked about the overall theme of the album. But tell me a little bit about that one, and then I want to ask you one more, and then I'll let you get back to caring for your wife.
Well, I won't be able to do that because then there's the next injury. It's
Oh
probably went
no.
4 minutes already. I see. Well,
Oh goodness. Oh, I can
uh,
definitely let you
uh,
get to it.
I'll just try to not talk too much. So the prophecy, yeah, that's um, lyrically, it literally contains a couple of lines of that ancient text the whole album is based on. So it literally contains parts of that prophecy, and it contains these parts that say all these crazy things, like about the things that we are going to see happening, like with the climate conditions and all that. Um, yeah, that's basically it. And due to that, because of its lyrics, we also, and also because of, it's kind of the outro track of the album. Um, yeah, we just wanted that song to be something like, yeah, let's say magical or something. So it does, and I think it does do that. And it contains a lot of these, yeah, kind of magical or ritualistic kind of moments, and yeah, it's like an invocation or like a prayer or something like that, and that's what it was supposed to be. That's the idea of the song.
Done absolutely beautifully. I will let you go so you can get to your next interview. Thank you so much for taking this time. I hope you have a beautiful and wonderful day. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
Likewise, take care, and thank you so much for having me, and all
Yes,
the best.
absolutely.
Take care.
Talk to you later.
Bye.